Hello, I am Ava Sinclair. California leads the nation in de facto school segregation. Well, look at that. California, the so-called progressive state, is leading the country once again. But this time, it's not for something to brag about. Turns out, when it comes to keeping our schools divided by race and class, California's right there at the top. A new study from the Civil Rights Project at UCL lays it out plain. Segregation in California's public schools isn't just bad. It's getting worse and faster than almost anywhere else in the nation. Now, I've been around long enough to know this didn't just happen overnight. The report shows that over the last 30 years, the number of intensely segregated schools, meaning schools where more than 90% of students are children of color, has quadrupled to nearly half of all K-12 public schools in the state. That's about 44.5%, and if you ask me, that's not just a statistic. That's a mirror reflecting who we really are behind all the talk of progress. What's funny is how folks still like to see California as this forward-thinking paradise. Tech, diversity, sunshine, and opportunity. But beneath that glossy image, a system that still gives white and Asian students the better funded schools, the better teachers, the better graduation rates, and the better chances. Meanwhile, our Black, Latino, Native, and multiracial babies are still fighting for scraps in schools that are underfunded, overcrowded, and overlooked. And before anybody says, well, that's just where people live, let's be real. That's not destiny. That's design. Decades of housing discrimination, bad policy, and so-called school choice programs that sound good on paper but have only made things worse. Since California stopped busing back in the late 70s and dropped desegregation altogether in the 80s, we've been drifting right back into separate worlds. One for the privileged, one for everybody else. Now, the report even points out that in places like San Bernardino and Santa Ana, nearly every school is intensely segregated. Think about that. Entire districts where children rarely even sit next to someone of another race. And they've got the nerve to call that diversity. Please! And let's not pretend this is just about feelings. This is about futures. Schools with fewer white students have lower graduation rates, almost 10 percentage points lower, fewer college-bound kids, fewer opportunities, and that's not a coincidence, it's a consequence. See, I'm not shocked by any of this. What does surprise me is how long it's taken for folks to finally admit what's been true for decades. California's not leading the charge toward equality. It's leading the nation in modern-day segregation. But maybe that's what it takes, the numbers staring us right in the face, for people to stop pretending the system isn't rigged. There's still time to turn this around. Transportation programs, inter-district transfers, tying school funding to integration, affordable housing. The solutions are there. But until the people in power decide that every child deserves the same access to a good education, California will keep proving one thing. Progress isn't about image, it's about impact. And right now, that impact is hitting our children of color the hardest. So yes, California's leading the way, just not in the direction it claims to be. But maybe now, with the truth out in the open, we can finally start marching toward a better future for us all.
Well, I've seen the lies, I've heard the cries. Time's up for choosing sides.